we need to beat them and hurt them, because if you cannot convince people of your ideas, it's got nothing to do with the fact that your ideas are bad. If you cannot convince somebody with a presentation, it's not that the presentation's bad, it's that you weren't violent enough. Because with enough violence, you can convince anybody of anything. Hello, you wonderful people. Welcome back to the madness. I just want to say before we get started, thank you to all the people that watch the videos, like them, comment on them, and especially to the people who subscribe, because there's no way I can get this channel to grow without you guys. All I can do is post videos. You guys are the ones that make the channel grow. So I just want to say thank you for that. But without further ado, let's jump in. Oh, the first video. Jesus. That's a little girl. How is a lap dance not a sexual thing? Isn't a lap dance like gyrating and grinding on somebody? Isn't that something that a stripper would typically do in like a private booth in the back room of a strip club? Why are we lap dancing on children? This is getting ridiculous. A group of insurrectionists occupied the Kentucky state capitol today to protest kids not being able to get sex change surgeries anymore. Isn't that what happened on January 6th? Isn't that the same thing? Like, lots of people who disagreed with the government stormed a governmental building and started shouting and screaming and protesting and stuff. I admit, though, on January 6th, people were like taking things and stealing things, and it was almost like looting. From what I've seen, that's what it looked like. Whereas that was just chanting. But either way, didn't they all still... Isn't the trespass the crime? Isn't entering the building the crime? And then everything else that they do in there's extra kind of thing. It's hypocritical.
I wonder if the parents of the victims of the Nashville shooting today would still have their children if these trans bills in Tennessee were never a thing.
So, well, I'm not even going to say anything. It sounds like she's justifying the murders here. Let's keep going before I pass judgment.
I'm not a parent, but if I were, I'd be real mad at the government. I'd be real mad at the government.
If you've been living...
So it's the government's fault that a lunatic got a gun and shot a bunch of children. But when it's a school shooter, like when it's the old school shooters, it's all about gun control and we need to protect people and we need to stop selling guns because guns kill people, people don't. Even though no gun has ever gone off without a trigger finger or a trigger person. See, walk language, not a trigger man, you're a trigger person. Like, no gun has ever gone off without somebody making it go off. Like, it needs somebody to fire it. So, in this instance, it was the government's fault for passing a law that upset somebody. So because somebody was upset by a law the government passed, that person is now completely justified and vindicated in murdering helpless innocent children. That was one of the weirdest takes I've ever seen in my life. School shootings are wrong regardless of who does it. And the people who perform school shootings are fucking cowards. Because if you've got a beef with somebody and you hate somebody and you want to murder that person, you've got this murderous rage inside you. Why do you go and prey on the most easy, vulnerable targets? Like, if I said something that annoyed you, that irritated you, and you wanted to kill me, why would you go to a school and kill innocent children? Like, it's completely irrational. The people that do it are mentally unwell. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. It shouldn't be happening regardless.
Under a bubble, then let me tell you, the right is trying to destroy public education. You might watch a video like this and you're like, this person's not smart at all. Wow. No, they know what they're doing. I'm not bashing all charter schools, but charter schools are a place where problematic things can happen. Let me share an experience from a charter school I interviewed at in Texas where no, I did not take the job. I interviewed for a school librarian position. I was really excited because I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go back to teaching this year after having my daughter. I was told that the board hand selects every single book that goes into the library, and you cannot put a single book into the library without the board's approval. So I straight up asked, can I teach a book with a gay couple in it? And they were like, oh, if it's not explicit, that means no. That is an example of what people like this and what people on the right want to do with public education. And remember, charter schools like that one that I just described are all government funded. We are paying for that school to exist.
Why are you nervous?
It said, this is Rob is Right, by the way. If you don't like listening to the balding, bearded British man, go and listen to Rob is Right, the dude that's just above me here. Go and listen to him. Go and watch his video, help me, if you don't want to listen to me talk. But he has said here, why do they desperately want your kids to read porn in schools? And I agree with him, because the only problem there was, can I tell a story to children if it involves a gay couple? And the retort to that was, if it's not explicit. And then she said, which means no. So she's implying that every single book that includes a homosexual couple is pornographic in some way. I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure there's books out there that teach about like gay families that have got nothing to do with like being sexual. Like it's just, there'll be like a throwaway line like Jimmy's got two dads in it. And that'll be like the only line, the only reference to homosexuality in it. Fair enough, because there'll be kids at the school that have got two dads or two mums, and it makes sense. But when it's about like fellatio and cunnilingus, and it's like explicit, I sucked his dick and I was holding his balls in my hand and all that stuff, that is not okay in schools. And I don't understand the desperation like from these people to foist this upon children. I really don't get it. So she didn't take a job in the library because she couldn't put explicit books in the library. That's what she's just said. I didn't take the job. They told me I couldn't read books that were explicit, so I didn't take that job. So she would have took it if she was allowed to show porn to children. It's getting ridiculous now. These people need throwing in a prison cell or under the prison.
And remember, charter schools like that one that I just described are all government funded. We are paying for that school to exist.
So shouldn't that mean that if we are paying for the school to exist, that we get a say what's in the books? And I can guarantee you now that there is a very, very finite number of parents that will be okay with their children consuming pornography at school. Very, very small number. So if the majority of people don't want it to happen and all people are paying for it, the majority should win and there should be no porn in schools. Shouldn't there? Isn't that how it would work? Like if everybody wanted porn in the school, I would be the minority and I'd just have to bite my lip and be like, right, fair enough, they're putting porn in schools. That's how it would work.
Why are you nervous?
But I meant like I've never met anyone that's not. I can't really explain.
He was going to say normal, but he's been so indoctrinated and he's so scared that he can't use the word normal because normal implies that they're strange.
Is this your first time seeing a drag queen?
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Excited, but a little bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous. I've never seen a drag queen before.
And what do you think?
I think it's cool.
It's great?
Yeah.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know, it's just different and new. Yeah.
Do you think that boy can wear makeup?
Yes.
And would you agree that makeup is for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Where do you buy your drag clothes?
I bought this at Value Village, secondhand. I make a lot of it, and sometimes I'll buy things secondhand and I'll alter them to make them more drag.
It's always the kids. It's always the kids. This channel it's really, really starting to get to me because I don't understand why it's always the fucking children. Why isn't there a person trying to convince me of this, an adult? Why am I not getting convinced of this? Why is there no media out there that's trying to convince me that drag queens are okay? Why is it always aimed at impressionable people? Why can't they come to somebody with critical thinking skills and say, do you know what, is there a problem with this? Like they just assume they're right and then force it down your throat. And because we as in adults haven't accepted it, they're now in schools talking to prepubescent children about drag shows to try and make it so that when they grow up, they've seen it before, so it's normal. if you grow up in a place where everybody gets murdered, right? Murder's going to be normalised to you. That's what's going to happen. And you're going to see a corpse in the street and you're going to think, oh, it's just a corpse. I've seen that hundreds of times. Like if you grew up in a city in America where homelessness is a really, really big problem, you're going to walk down the street and see homeless people and not even batter an eyelid because it's been normalised throughout your childhood. So if you can get a drag queen into a classroom and normalise it to children, when those children become adults, they won't see a problem with it. They won't see it as a sexual thing because they've been indoctrinated and groomed into believing it. Like, this is what's happening. Like, that must be the only reason they're attacking the kids, because if they get the kids now, in 20 years' time, those kids will be ruling the country, and then they'll make the country better for the way that the people that are doing it to them want it to be. That makes sense. It's starting to irritate me on a really deep, spiritual, fundamental level. And this is insurrectionist again. The thing is, when they're chanting no action, no peace means war. That's what it means. Like, no war means peace. So no peace means war. So they're going to start getting violent if they don't get their own way. Is that what they're implying there? Like, if you don't start doing what we want you to do, there'll be no peace, so we're going to create war. It just seems like temper tantrums. It seems like infantile, petulant adults. Where, I want it. Yeah. That's what it seems like. It really does seem that way. But why do they want it so badly? Why is it that they're aiming at the kids? I don't get this. Why aren't they aiming at people like 25 and above? Why aren't they trying to convince adults of their ideas? Why are they trying to force this so hard? I can't get over it. I really can't. And this is, I've seen this clip. This is AOC. She posed for a picture of her at first, and she was like leaning in, and then she realised it was libs of TikTok, and she was like, "You're super transphobic." Watch.
Super transphobic, and I never want to share space with you. Thank you.
I am here outside the Cannon building. I was here last week because I attempted to ask AOC why she lied about me in a committee hearing. She cowered away. She refused to talk to me. So I'm back here today, 1 week later, and I'm going to deliver her an ethics complaint that I filed for lying about an American citizen in a committee hearing.
Good.
So AOC, she broke the rules. Believe it or not, there's actually rules on Capitol Hill. And 23 Clause 1 is a big one. You got to act in a way that reflects credibility on the House. And lying about, a U.S. citizen certainly doesn't do that. So we're filing this ethics complaint.
Let's go inside and see if she's there.
I didn't say this in the last video. I meant to, but it slipped out my mind because I try and keep them short. Because believe me, guys, I could pause each video and talk for 15 minutes. I really could do it. That's why some of them go long. So I try and keep it succinct. But this is like a really prestigious, old, historic parliamentary governmental building, right? Where a lot of America, as we know it, happened. Like, for things in America to happen, it has to be written down on a piece of paper, it has to be passed on a law, it has to be go through Congress and all that stuff, right? So this place is like really important. And she's covered the wall in post-it notes. It looks like the inside of like a lunatic's prison cell. That's what it looks like. It looks like the inside of a madman's prison cell. They're all over the floor. Like, that alone to me seems disrespectful to the prestigiousness and the history of the building. Can you imagine that if I became a member of Parliament, for example, in the UK, and then I go to the House of Commons or the House of Lords, and I'm just sticking post-it notes up outside my door? Like, it's very unprofessional for a politician to do that. It just seems very petulant to me.
How are you doing? Just dropping off some mail for the conversation.
Hi. So basically, a few weeks ago, AOC lied about me in a committee hearing.
Okay.
So I tried to come last week and talk to her, but she kind of cowered away, wasn't interested in talking to me. So together with Mike from the Heritage Foundation Oversight, he helped me file this ethics complaint. So we filed that. And if you can give it to AOC, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And tell her to stop lying about American citizens.
Okay, have a good one.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just dropped off an ethics complaint at AOC's office, and unfortunately she wasn't there. So we left, and then I was walking through the Capitol, and guess who I bumped into? AOC herself. I just delivered an ethics complaint to your office because you lied about me in a committee hearing.
Oh, hi. Yeah, no,
so
actually,
I never
you're
inspired about her.
No, you're actually super transphobic, and I never want to share space with you.
So, libs of TikTok, Maya, I think her name is, she said, I've just filed an ethics complaint about you because you lied. And then AOC didn't defend the fact that she lied about her. What she did was a typical leftist stunt of throwing a label at you. So libs of TikTok says, you lied about me. And AOC says, no, I didn't. You're transphobic. So she didn't say, no, I didn't. It was true. No, I didn't. It wasn't a lie. No, I didn't lie. You're a bigot. That's her defense. That's her defense every time. Her defense is never based on the argument at hand. It's always based on, like, I'm sure a few years ago, people were criticising AOC, and she was like, all these people that are criticising me, they're only doing it because they want to sleep with me. Like, no, bitch, you're just wrong, and you can't accept it.
Thank you.
Good evening. Many of you know me, so I am here to discuss this.
You see what I'm talking about? What the fuck, man? What the fuck? A parent destroys a board after a teacher gives students an assignment which asks them to describe their sexual fantasies. What the fuck? What's going on?
This atrocity of assignments. I want to first say you're a liar. It's not a rumor. I have the proof right here in my phone of the with whom would you do it with? And my daughter specifically stated that the teacher put up a wheel on the class board and it stated anal penetration, oral sex, licking of ear, kissing, and he wanted them to write down the initials of a boy or girl that they would do these activities with. Now, I don't know what's worse, wanting to know my child's sexual fantasy or who they're going to have anal penetration and oral sex with. What is he gaining from this? What do you gain from this information? Why has my daughter that naively did the assignment? Because she's scared. She wants to get good grades. She wants to be, get her license. She has to get good grades. And so she does this assignment. Where's the assignment? Why hasn't she had it turned back to her with her grade on it? What is he doing with it? Is this for his spank bank? Is he literally using this for his sexual deviant? These are questions that need to be answered.
Deep breath, dude.
He verbally abused, verbally, sexually abused every single child in that classroom. You look up the definition. I gave you the paper for the definition of verbal sexual abuse. Now, sexual abuse is sexual abuse. So where's the criminal charges? Why is he still teaching? Is it because he's the football coach and Churchill's doing good? Don't want to lose that.
So let me get this straight. I just want to pause this. Let me get this straight. So a man was in a classroom in a teaching role. He asked the children about sexual fantasies. He wrote sexual inappropriate things on the board, got the children to fill that stuff in, and he is the one that is in the locker rooms with them.
Because football doesn't matter when it comes to our children, okay? This sexual deviant needs to be removed. If you do not remove him, I am giving you my word today that tomorrow morning I will go down to the county clerk's office and I will file for the removal of every single one of you.
I would have been at the county clerk's office reporting that man before I went to that meeting, and I would have took the report with me. I would have done all of this, and I would have said, and you've been reported for being a sexual predator. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Trans people in Tennessee, it's time to fucking fight. Trans allies in Tennessee, it's time to fucking fight. Trans women, if they lock you up for identifying as a woman, fight, resist. You're gonna die anyways. We're going to die anyways. It's time to fucking resist. Fight them. Hurt them. If they put their hands on you, beat them. We are at an attack. It's time to fight back. Do you hear me? Trans people in Tennessee, trans men, trans women, non-binary, fight! If they try to arrest you or have you arrested on a felony for existing, beat them. Team up. Gang together, get people who agree with you to come and fight. Carry a weapon at all times. And yes, you have to attack the police officer. Allegedly. But it's time. It's time. If they're going to try to jail and police you for existing, you fight them. You fight them. And if they lock you in prison, fuck up the guards. Bust out of prison. Jump in with other trans people. It's time we organize a prison bust in Tennessee, guys. It's time we organize a prison bust. It's time we start fighting. It's time. If they put their hands on you, fight them. Trans people, fight them. We will not let them create a genocide of trans people. I am so tired. I was in a live the other day with 2 trans people who denied this. Out of my way. I disown any trans person who disagrees with this notion. You are not allowed at the fucking table.
Yeah, unless you 100% agree with all of these crazy people, you are disowned. So you could be a trans person right now, right? You could have went through gender dysphoria, you could have went through all these problems, and you've transitioned, and you're feeling better. I'm glad for you. I'm glad you're feeling better. Right? I am. I'm glad you feel better. But if you don't think that a trans genocide is happening, or you don't agree with arming yourself and advocating for violence and beating up prison guards and breaking up prison, if you don't agree with all of that, you're not really trans in their eyes, and you're part of the problem. So it's got nothing to do with protecting people that identify this way. It's all to do with protecting a certain political ideology that they believe in. So your trans journey, if you want to call it a journey, because that's what life is, it's a journey through life. You want all of the stuff that you went through to try and fix who you are doesn't matter to these people. You are merely a fucking pawn in their game of chess. That's all that's happening. And this is proof of it. So this trans person wants other trans people to put their life on the line and get arrested or possibly maimed or murdered, because you can get shot for doing these things, if they want somebody else to do it all for them. And if you don't do it, she'll disown you, he'll disown you, they'll disown you, whatever they claim they are. It's ridiculous.
It's time to fucking fight. Trans genocide's around the corner. Stop debating cis people in your existence. I do not debate. My existence is not a conversation. We fucking fight now, or we die. And we're not gonna die debating cis people. They're gonna have the last word. They're joining your life to call you a man. They're joining your life to call you a woman. They're joining your life to misgender you, to get the right pronouns, to tell you that you're not existent. They're fucking with you and you're an idiot! Stop! You're gonna kill us all! Join together and start organizing a rally for resistance, not for talk. They're fucking with you. You're being gaslit. You think you're gonna have a conversation and make progress. We don't have time to make progress. We have time to fight! God! All of you, I'm disappointed! Fight! Stop! I'll tell you something. If a police officer put his hands on me for trying to be who I am, I don't care if I got shot.
You're fucking crazy. Why would a police officer put his hands on you for you being trans? Being trans isn't illegal. You've got more rights and more protections than normal people. Cis people, as you like to call them. Normal people, right? You've got more rights and protections than normal people. For you to sit there and have the audacity to believe that you are a fucking victim group when you control the narrative in mainstream media is beyond stupid, right? This is fucking idiotic. You cannot claim that you are a victim, right? And then have every fucking corporation in America licking your behind. Right up in there. Oh, it's trans week, it's trans month, it's gay pride week, and all this stuff for the LGBTQ, right? Straight people get none of it. They get none of it. You are a special privileged group trying to claim that you're the victim here. You don't understand the delusion. You don't understand the delusion.
I'm taking a couple of transphobes with me, and I suggest you do the same. The time for debate is over. It's a waste of time!
That's problematic!
Indeed it is, Rob. Indeed it is. Yes, we need to beat them and hurt them, because if you cannot convince people of your ideas, it's got nothing to do with the fact that your ideas are bad. If you cannot convince somebody with a presentation, it's not that the presentation's bad, it's that you weren't violent enough. Because with enough violence, you can convince anybody of anything. Peace.